second stint, the next big drive days. Heading over to Minnesota from Cleveland, Ohio, and almost 100% here. Ready to head out with 219, 220 miles, 221 with AC on, and 226 with it off on today, because we're starting at 74 degrees, but it's going to get warmer, of course. And we'll head out and hit the road for the further Midwest. It's never a dull moment at Electrify America. You've got a F-150 Lightning Pro right there. They're working on the two middle stations by the looks of it. So 350 kilowatts unavailable for the moment. So shame for us, but good to see them out checking stuff, seeing how it's going. And we're fired up. We're having lunch here anyway. Still only 13 minutes to 80%. This is where 150 kilowatts doesn't make much difference. But happy to do that and see how we progress here. Using the power frunk to its full extent. Ready to go, 92%. And these EA stations are ready to go as well, thanks to this EA tech. Quick pit stop, Wilbur Shore Service Plaza. Only a 50 kilowatt, but enough to give us a bump to get on to South Chicago and beyond into Wisconsin. Also lots of Tesla superchargers. Seems to be a common theme along the Indiana part of I-80. Oh, that's EVgo coming in clutch again when the Electrify America is full of stories. The EVgo does have a sleeping Bolt driver on the fast charger, but look how empty. You've still got the 200 kilowatt stations behind it and plenty of space. So EVgo ripping through another charging session, coming up on 17 minutes, and that's got close to 80% in the same time as yesterday. Ridiculously cheap, but not even $5 yet for 50 kilowatt hours. Maybe the cheapest I've seen, but they keep winning. This is a good location, aside from maybe being a bit sketchy behind the mall at night in the blazing sunshine. This is a good place to be. Next stop, Madison, Wisconsin, and a Walmart. So definitely hit and miss here. It's quiet, which is good. This one's working at a reasonable 72%. kilowatts. Ours is pumping at about 89. This one says downgraded but is unavailable, and the other one's downgraded, so such is life. But these are coming from Oregon, ours from Massachusetts. Good mix.
Why is that not one of the songs from the Dixie Chicks mix? They did really great.
So we went from 47% to 34% overnight. AC on for about 10 hours. V2L, kettle boiling, powering devices, etc. So not too bad. And just down the road here is a fast charger at a casino. So let's go take a look. See what these say. This is pretty impressive kit for this local area. 180 kilowatts. Standard ABB stuff, connect OK. I'll just hit start. Looks like they haven't put in any kind of payment system yet. It is on Shell Recharge here. Yep. Doesn't know what state of charge we are yet. But 32%, there we go. And let's see how much power we get according to the car. Doesn't seem to want to tell us here. Information just about the plug, nothing particularly helpful. Car is being charged. Charging will start at a fast rate, gradually slow down and stop automatically. Oh, this is the example they use. Think of charging like filling seats in a theatre. The first people entering find a seat quickly. As the theatre fills, it takes longer to find a seat. The last person entering takes longest to find the empty seat. Similarly, the charging process slows as the battery fills. Well, that's very interesting. So an ABB, CHAdeMO and CCS1 head. It's the Terra 184 and up to 900 volts and 480 amps. We should be getting pretty good power here. Okay, so the car is ready before I was, trying to pick out restaurants for tonight. But notice we're at 83% now. It hasn't done that drop off a cliff thing. We were at maximum maybe 156 kilowatts. It didn't drop down to 8 kilowatts yet. May do, still 20 minutes to 100%. But we didn't start super high, 32% was it? And it seems like it's doing a taper rather than a cliff. So the cliff thing doesn't always happen. Well, that's been a really good session, especially for free and just starting up with no hassle. Looks like there's a bolt down there. He's just pulled in by the looks of it to the ID4. I think you can see the ID4 leaving in the background. No knacks yet, but you have to wonder how long this trusty old fellow will be here when they could stick an axe head on it and attract all that Tesla traffic. May be difficult for CHAdeMO from here on out, but this is a good session, good place for us, and there's another one right over there. So thank you Ho Chunk Casino and Hotel and Shell for keeping these free stations for the moment, not keeping them offline until you get a payment system in place. But so yeah, bumping on from Eau Claire to Minneapolis, where we charged in Wisconsin Dells over there. We had, don't know where it was now, somewhere down here. We had exactly the same mileage as we needed to get here, so we stopped for some lunch just to give us a little bump, and that will push us on to the less than 100 miles we need to go to Minneapolis now. And that will be the drive day, so not a big one, a couple of 100 miles. Again, this is D-rated, so not getting particularly impressive power, but you know, 25 minutes to 80% because we started a higher state of charge, and presumably this will hold 80, 78, 80 the whole way. That'll be fine. And yeah, can't see what they're pulling, unfortunately. Okay, so we milked this one for the full 30 minutes free, partially to get to 80%, although we don't really need it because there's one right by our hotel in Minnesota, but partially because we just needed to grab some extra supplies, go to the restroom, and we're going to go via the Starbucks over there, which probably could have walked to, but no big deal, no rush. And we got a Rivian. There you go. Good job we waited.
Welcome to Minnesota.
Prince. Okay, so this one has been an exercise in patience for a lot of people. Got in line just in case, and that was right, because then the Bolt pulled up, then the e-tron to the left pulled up, and just now as I've finished, the Mach-E has pulled up. So this kind of emphasizes what we're talking about with the infrastructure down in Pine City, which is close but still limited infrastructure and EV adoption outpacing the available chargers really, plus it's 50 kilowatts. So, you know, they're just going to go, because that makes sense. I mean, the Bolt's going to be on for at least 45 minutes, I would think. e-tron similar. Looks like there's a time limit. I had 20 minutes remaining, having charged for 40. So, you know, if you can move on, it would definitely be the right thing to do. So Chisholm, Minnesota, still at 49 kilowatts, so that old school charging, but the difference here being it's free, nobody is waiting, and it's a lot further up and out of the way of electric vehicles traveling between Duluth and Minneapolis-St. Paul. So easy start, no problems. We'll grab some groceries and see what we have when we come back. Started at 17%. Obviously going to take forever to get to even 80%. Compare that to 20-minute charge times, and that's what it is when you get out into the remote areas. Okay, so about, what are we, 25 minutes, 30 minutes later, grocery shop in the bag, and held up pretty reliable, 49 kilowatts, so this is true to its power of 50. And almost, yeah, just delivered 20 kilowatt hours. So, you know, in normal Electrify America, even a derated one, you'd be leaving now. But here you have the older infrastructure and how it is when you're charging. You know, even the 62.5 kilowatt charge point CPE 250s would be in line with this. You'd have more like a 40 to 50 minute wait. We didn't start that low, it was 17%. Okay, way more than we need, but a good safety buffer, just in case. Similar charge to before, but we started at 9%, the other one. Have a quick look at these. Looks like it's on, says it has power. Oh, these are high power ones too, 60 amps, nice. These are doing a pinch. There's a volt limited for us, 52 kilowatt max, goes down to minus 31 Fahrenheit. I wonder if that's enough up here. Who knows? Anyway, 40 minutes charging, 33 kilowatts delivered. I'll just stop it by that. Slide that back in its hole. And that's it. Slow but easy. And you're up here with these places we've marked. This this is all Voyageurs National Park. You've got International Falls, which you would think actually would have a fast charger, given the size of the other towns that have got it up here, but has not got one yet. Has a level 2, which is a bit sketchy, so I doubt we will rely on anything up there. This should be plenty as we charge up and come back down. As long as we start at around 30%, we should be good for the morning. So no big deal there. And yeah, tomorrow we will be heading up here and getting our national park on. But for today, it's a pretty nice place to linger. Fully juiced. Thank you, Charge Point Home Flex. I've also got the Tesla 48 amp. We might try that one tonight. We'll see via the adapter. But either way, full charge is full charge. And 250 odd miles for a full drive day. And today we head north to Voyageurs National Park, which is somewhere up here. Yep, Cabotagama, I think that's the first visitor centre we'll hit. But either way, we're only about 50 miles away. We have 250 to play with and a charger when we come home. So this is why we like accommodation and destinations with EV charging. Today we've lightened up the car with the camping stuff out back at the camp all set up. So all the luggage and the heavy stuff is out. We got around 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, heading around kinda 60-65 mile per hour roads around here. So I'm assuming it'll be the same kind of roads, but it'll be interesting to see if the car gets any more efficiency with a few things shed and left behind at the camp. So we're at 253 miles, fully charged, and 40 miles to the destination. So we'll see how much it actually heats up as we go, and what our efficiency is over that first 40 miles to the Voyageurs National Park. Voyageurs National Park has 3 visitor centres. The Cabotagama that we are leaving right here, that's kind of the central one. Rainy Lake in the north up by International Falls on the border with Canada, and the one that we're heading to right here. All 3 offer something a little bit different and unique and tell a different part of the story of Voyageurs National Park. So let's rejoin the road trip here at Ash River Visitor Centre, furthest to the east of Voyageurs National Park.
Resend my picture, it didn't go. That's more important, right? In those days.
One step at a time. You hear that? I need that. Pictures in it.
So while Voyageurs National Park doesn't lack for natural beauty and lakeland activities, it does have a dearth of any kind of charging, DC fast charging or destination charging. You can see we spent several hours at a couple of these visitor centres, whether it was enjoying the sights at Rainy Lake here or just over at Ash River Visitor Centre enjoying the trails. But none of these, despite lingering for several hours, gave us any electrons. It would be a good place to put in destination charging. Any kind of level 2, as we'll see later on as we go down to the North Shore, would be a big benefit, and as it turned out we didn't actually need it, but not here, not International Falls, none of the areas. However, we did enjoy the sights and sounds around Rainy Lake. There's a lot of interesting kind of places to poke our noses into, and we ended up at this library restaurant, which was intriguing, gave you free books if you wanted them. You could take anything, and the shelves were pretty stacked. Food was pretty good, and we enjoyed the hearty meal before heading back to the campground.
I'll go back up at some point, I think. Okay, so these are our numbers after a day jaunting around Voyageurs National Park up to 3 of the visitor centres. So good numbers, 184 miles, but still I have faith in that kind of 75 to 80 miles that we would get more, which would put us right at kind of 260 to 65. 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, we were up as high as 3.6 around some of the slow roads on the visitor centre areas, but highway speeds of around here at least 60-65 miles per hour bring that down a little bit, but it's still really good. I mean, that, you know, gives you that kind of 250 plus miles. The EPA range on this, I believe, for the 2022 model year was 259, 258 possibly. So we're doing well on the heaviest and all-wheel drive version of this car. So very happy with that. Got us round without even thinking about range really, which was good because there were very few charges. Getting back, having only used a little over 2/3 of the pack, is very promising, and tomorrow we'll probably try and do a very similar thing. So good stuff and a very good day. And hopefully a very good sunset very soon. Okay, so a less sunshiny day than we've had the last few days here in northern Minnesota, and not quite to our fullest capabilities here. We are on this charger. I did try the Tesla charger, which is on the other wall. That didn't seem to work with our adapter. Don't know if it was the adapter or the station itself. Doesn't really matter because they have the charge point home flex one here, and that slightly anemic rate of 3.7, 3.8 kilowatts that it's showing there didn't quite get us what we needed from the high 20s overnight, but you know, not bad at all. We got the better part of a full charge for nothing, just for the privilege of staying at a nice campsite with all kinds of stuff here. Lots of facilities right on Pelican Lake, so not the weather you want to enjoy it in today, but we are heading out, so no big deal. We're going to head over to Crane Lake. So we were up in the kind of northwestern part of Voyageurs National Park yesterday, and today we'll head over to the eastern part. It's about 56 square miles, I think it was, 218,000 acres. And today we'll head over to this Crane Lake area, which is a little bit closer to us, so we left it for the second day. Don't know what it'll be like. Hopefully the weather improves a little bit, but whatever the case, we'll do that. We'll go down these back roads. Hear the confidence in that voice? That's a man who thinks he knows better than Google, trying to force the route down this, what I would call a road, but which the road itself and Google would consider a trail. So let's see how he fares as he heads out into the Superior National Forest with just an IONIQ 5, a charge, and some dreams of getting to Ely, Minnesota. Down to this North Shore. If you've seen any of Brian Riebe Drives Electric, his videos, he's gone all the way up to the top here, exploring the infrastructure and new superchargers and Zephyrnet chargers that are on this stretch, all the way up in Grand Marais. At the top, we're going to join it in the middle here and come down through places like Silver Bay, Two Harbors, I forget some of the names, but they're all kind of this stretch between Highway 61 and Duluth here down on the bottom. So we'll do that. and then we'll rejoin the land of fast charging south of here. The one in Duluth, I believe, is offline, so that's not necessarily helpful, but there are plenty down here heading into Wisconsin as you get across the border there. That's Duluth and Superior, Duluth in Minnesota, Superior in Wisconsin, and then further down here you've got a few different 50 kilowatt options. So we'll still be in the land of 50 kilowatts until we hit the interstates again, down around Eau Claire. We could go the way we came up and hit some of the faster chargers around Minneapolis, but it's not quite as direct, so we'll come down this way, hit a 50 kilowatt, and start working our way back towards Chicago, which is tomorrow's destination, I believe. A bit off my calendars at the moment, but that's what we're planning. That's at 89%, and we'll get on the rainy road.
Survival of wolf populations by teaching about wolves. We were originally founded in 1985 by Dr. IONIQ, one of the world's leading experts on wolves. So looking a little bit more specifically at our ambassador wolves, how do we get them? Well, we get them as pups. They're going to be born in captivity at other USDA accredited breeding facilities, and they come here when they're about 10 to 14 days old. We need to get them that young so we can properly socialize them with our wolf care staff so they're used to us and we can handle them throughout their life. We usually try to get new pups every 4 years to maintain a good age structure within the pack, so we don't get too many old wolves in the pack and too many young wolves. We have a good gradation of ages. And we've chosen to not do any breeding here. As I mentioned, we got them from other facilities, so we don't do any breeding here based on a few reasons. Since our main goal here is vegetation, that would take a lot of time, energy, resources to run a breeding program. And since we want to focus on teaching people a lot of awesome stuff, we don't want to use those resources for that. Also, wolves usually have about 4 to 6 pups in the litter every year. Our enclosure can handle up to 8. So exponential growth, plus the adults, we would quickly run out of space for all the wolves that we would generate here. And usually we like to have a lot of different subspecies of gray wolf behind me. So like Riebe and Cas and Blackstone, they're all northwestern subspecies of gray wolf, and Axel and Grayson, they're all Arctic subspecies. So we like to have a mix, and that would be really hard to do if we had a breeding program here as well. So not only through that fence are they going to be able to touch each other, smell each other, kind of see each other, have those awesome interactions in a safe way, they're also going to be able to have more interactions through vocalizations like howling. This is Axel and Grayson in 2016 here. So while I said that howling is a great way for them to bond, those guys were actually howling at a siren. So I don't think that much bonding was going to be happening there. They could try as hard as they want, but it's really probably not going to work. Another thing I like to note is all wolves kind of howl a little differently. They have like their own like accents to them. Their howls haven't changed since that. So Axel is definitely the one that had a more like barky, whiny howl, and Grayson is a very deep, like depressed, something howl. So those guys.
Thank you.
Turn right on Minnesota 61 South. Turn right on Minnesota 61 South. Good afternoon. Our 13-minute film, The Story of Split Rock Lighthouse, will be showing in the Visitor Center Theater in 1 minute. If you would like to view the movie, please be seated at the
That was still working.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up here and what do you think?
You're gonna have to hold the steps, I can't wait.
That's what we're doing.
So although we would have loved to spend a few more days on the North Shore and even up in Voyageurs National Park and around that area of northern Minnesota, it was time to go back. We had kids to pick up from camp and plenty more work to do the following week. So we left it behind and headed south into Wisconsin, through Superior on the other side of the lake from Duluth, Minnesota, and down to Trego, Wisconsin, where there is a 50 kilowatt Zeph energy station. Gave us a decent charge to get on after dinner, and then we stayed in Eau Claire overnight. So you had that same kind of route on the way back, heading down through Madison, Wisconsin, down into Illinois. Most of the same stops. We had another good charge at the Ho-Chunk Casino for free. Experienced the same kind of derated, slower charges in Eau Claire in Wisconsin, and then down into Illinois we hit EVgo's again, and back through Indiana, which was again a busy kind of Electrify America station, only one serving the route there across I-80, so busy but easy enough to do as we headed back to Cleveland, Ohio, where we were staying out for the next week or so. So our overall trip stats, we travelled just over 3,000 miles, getting to 3,097.
Okay, so back in Ohio, and definitely still got the mud, believe it or not. It has looked worse than that. But that is the end of the first part of the trip. And let's look at some of the numbers. So arriving back into Cleveland, just shy of 3,100 miles, 21%. Pretty comfortable after that final charge in Tiffin Plaza on the western side of Ohio. Gives you plenty to get back the 140 miles or so to Cleveland Metro West. So pretty impressed with the 3 miles per kilowatt hour. We were down to 2.9 after all the highway driving up to Minneapolis St. Paul, and a little bit north of there. Then it slows down, you get to the 50, 60 mile an hour roads, still highway speeds. At some point you can go kind of 65, 70 in some areas, but for the most part you're driving around more local roads. The dirt road was definitely more like 25, 30 miles an hour, so we definitely got some back there. And in general those areas are just a little bit slower, so you eke out your range, you get a bit more on a charge, between 250 and 300 miles on a charge, as opposed to 200, 220 when you're at highway speeds, kind of 75, 80 miles an hour. And that is the trip. So that is the full report of those 3,100 miles, and there's a lot to take away from it. We had all kinds of charging experiences, from excellent on EVgo to the you know, seeing some of the things that people don't like about Electrify America, some of the things they do love, and the newer hardware sites, and some of the sites going in there in Pine City, Minnesota. Moving on to 50 kilowatt charging, which was a little bit more difficult, especially when there's a solo station and a lot of people want to use it. And then into no charging at all, other than the level 2 destination charging we had at the resort, and a few on the way back down through the North Shore. So lots to digest, but right now it is time to get unpacked and well, do a lot of video editing, I guess. Those are our numbers.
Oh.